were already addressing that. Money we have to apply. If we need equipment, we need to equip our laboratories. The government cannot just come. They don't know. They don't know that you do not have the facilities. And we as a state, we need to help our government. We need to help our government to help ourselves. More graduates given land. I have a challenge with that. Serious challenge. People who have been given things, like Makgoba is saying, they don't look after those things. You have to sweat to get something, and then you will look after it. I would agree with you if you say starter pack. They give you a starter pack, and they tie that starter pack on the outcome. They give you 1 million, here is rent, employ 20 people. But with primary agriculture, my friend, because it doesn't make you to think anything well, you will not succeed. You will produce millions and millions of cabbages, and then you take them to the market, you find that the market doesn't want them. But if you were having secondary agriculture, you know that I am producing for who? For Mashela. And they will take everything, even the rotten ones, they will take them to make art in secondary agriculture. I am not in favor of people giving things for free. And even yourself, yes, NSFAS, free education is well, but I don't expect your kids to be on NSFAS as well. So I expect you to get out of that pit of poverty. Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you. The issue that I am raising is that given. I'm talking about starter pack. What's the tight responsibility on that starter pack? How many people have been given things, and where are those things now?
Obviously, said there will have to be a level of transparency and certain policies.
In the country, I don't want to open a dialogue. We have more than enough policies. And how do you explain the failure, the massive failure? I'm not talking about small failures, massive failure of our primary agricultural projects. Massive failure. And I would not encourage us in our training to focus on primary agriculture, but to focus on the secondary agriculture, where people will be taught entrepreneurial skills. An entrepreneur is a person who is willing to take risk, but taking risk with the aim of making money. We can discuss it further outside. The issue of going home during our recess, I'm glad our executive dean is here. And I guess it has already been corrected. Students are given an opportunity to stay and conduct their research during the recess. Makgoba. I agree with you, Makgoba, but distribution. The government has distributed a lot. And where are those things? Distributed a lot, distributed. Let us learn. To be responsible citizens. And a responsible citizen, always you ask yourself, what can I do for this great country? And not, what can I get from this great country? I agree with the things that you are raising. Some of them are historically tied. In the presentation here, I focused a little bit on history so that you can be able to conceptualize our challenge. Our challenge is not emanating now. It's historical. But once you have understood that it is historical, then you should come up with your own strategy to adapt. And if you do not adapt, it's death.
Thank you very much, Prof. Before you take some of them to the streets, I see the gentleman is ready. Ms. Fakishe, was your question?
No, Prof, it was not answered.
I think there's one that's her question was, what will be the alternative to Verwoerd primary agriculture? If this one is termed Verwoerdian, what will be the other one called? Maybe Prof should coin a term for it.
If you look at the agricultural mandates, I've already spoken about Millennium Goal 1, elimination of hunger and poverty. Primary agriculture, unless you have land, and I'm not talking about a 5-hectare land, unless you have land and you are mechanized, you cannot make it in primary agriculture. And that was Verwoerd stream. But let us put these blacks in homelands, Bantustan's areas, fragile soil, and focus on primary, have them focusing on primary. But we cannot really forever, 30 years after democracy, continue blaming Thabo. I was just bringing it to give you my own perspective. That it is in ourselves to start moving away from the Verwoerdian mentality of agriculture. And unless we move away from there, who will betide us? Thank you.
Allow me to call it the Marshallian mentality of agriculture. I know the 5 questions generate debates, but can I take a fresh new because I have a lot of hands? It will be unfair if I reiterate the 5 questions. Can I take some from this side and then move back to the middle? At least if I can have 5 different ones. You'll be number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and the gentleman in red. I'll remember the 2 of you in the next round.
Good day. My name is Bongana. I'm not from the Faculty of Science and Agriculture. I'm from the Faculty of Management and Law doing economics, but this thing concerns me as the economics is generalized. Okay? So, as Prof said that our students are being taught about the primary agricultural sector only and not about the secondary agricultural sector. And I'm sure among all of us here, most of us who are from poverty-stricken villages, okay, some of us have their ideas which can help the secondary sector, but because they lack funds to fund those particular secondary sector companies. And the government, there is corruption. I'm sure the people are handling applications for funding, but just because there's corruption and there are these policies which says, let me say, deployment policy of the ruling party, which means they elect people who are also known, people who were there for the struggle, people who went for exile. And those people, some of them lack the skills which are required within the productive sector or within the agricultural sector. So don't you think the government should amend those policies or maybe change some of the policies which are not effective enough and not efficiently enough? Don't you think the government should amend some of those acts? Don't you think we should deal with those people? And another thing is that we know that our parents are told that at the age of 65, they should retire and go for retirement. But those ones are in parliament. Some of them are still in office. So don't you think those people should leave the office in order for us to let the youth lead, because there is high rate of unemployment within the youth part of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Before the next speaker speaks, to the students that are here in R40, please do not leave yet. I'm not saying anything about anything, but just say, do not leave. And normally when I say this, things follow. Second speaker, go ahead.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Thabo, and actually I'll benchmark from saying good day, Prof, because I'm a product of Professor Mashela. He highlighted something. Yes, students disappear for reasons. Nevertheless, let me just get on with my questions. Prof, I heard you talking about transformation a lot, transforming into the secondary agriculture and doing away. I don't know if maybe I'm putting it correctly if I'm saying doing away with primary agriculture. However, recently there was a workshop that we had whereby we spoke about the agricultural master plan. In that particular workshop, they highlighted the importance of having a supplier, even though you are doing agro-processing. Currently, I'm venturing into agro-processing. We've established our own products made out of moringa. And one of the key tenets that I also noticed is that without primary knowledge, it is actually difficult to get into secondary agriculture. And I do agree with you, Prof, that a lot of information that is coming out right now, we are outdated actually. We need to be updated. So then the question is, looking into the agricultural master plan, which says that there has to be quality agri-parks. Agri-parks, remember even when they started this seminar, in the second lecture, they spoke a lot about the 1 hectare, 1 farmer program. But it failed because our people, obviously, they don't take care of the things that they are given. So now, given those challenges and what we have identified, how then do we transform specifically the primary agriculture to make sure that when they supply to the secondary agriculture, where a bulk of the agro-processors are, then we can be sure that the whole value chain is captured, because finally, the final leg of the agricultural master plan is the consumer. whereby we're going to check the consumer index, consumer perception, preferences, and all those things. So how then do we string all those different sectors along to ensure that at the end of the day, agriculture is effective, whether be it primary, secondary, or even tertiary? Because I believe that secondary agriculture will not survive on its own. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I identified one more person this side.
Thank you very much. My name is Surprise Kala. And then I just want to give a question on the issue of unemployment agricultural graduates. But before I can pose my question, allow me to qualify my question by saying that in South Africa, a black child, they don't have land. The land is owned by one monopoly capital, mostly agricultural land I'm talking about. And then having that in mind, we are having the universities that are expected to offer agricultural degrees like our university. But yet, when we get to university, we still have a problem whereby some of the apparatus that we need to go out there to agricultural field and compete with those white monopoly capital people, they are lacking in our institution. And then my question will be is that how then do we expect the percentage of agricultural graduate unemployment rate to go low if the universities, they don't have enough apparatus or equipments to equip us as a student who are eager to pursue agricultural field. And again, how then, okay, why can't the universities, because I believe that as agricultural students, we need a practical learning than theory. In agricultural fields, we need practicals. But then, yet we are offered a degree for 4 years with a mini practical that they can't even label us as experienced graduates. Allow me to make example of people who are doing B Bachelor of Education. They are given a period where they are allowed to go out to different schools to exercise the theory that they were taught in their respective degrees. But we as agricultural students, we don't have time whereby we need to go out to the perhaps to the farms where we can be able to show out those employers that we are capable of performing the job. Hence, when we graduate, you find a poster, they say we need 3 years experience. Where do they expect us to get that experience? Why can't university help us acquire some skills, thereby where perhaps during third level, that's where they can say, in your fourth level, it's an experimental year, whereby you are expected to be in the farm full-time, learning how to use those apparatus that the university itself doesn't have. Thank you.
My name is Simtsweni Katlawa. I'm a first level student in animal production. Mine is actually 2 concerns which I would like to outline. The first one is language barrier. Us as University of Limpopo students, we are based in a rural area, and I'm sure that almost all of us in here, we went to public schools which do not offer Afrikaans as a subject. There are some farms which can take out internship programs where you find that Afrikaans is part of the requirements needed for selection. So in this kind of situations, how then do we adapt to such reality for us to fit in the industry? Then the second concern is on encouraging entrepreneurship within agriculture. We have many successful farmers, but when you check their academic background, they did not study, or rather they don't have qualifications for agriculture. But maybe they might have had the privilege to inherit livestock and also land from their past family members. But us with agricultural qualifications, we don't have that privilege, I can say. So the question is that, how then do we encourage entrepreneurship? Which resources can be made available for us to partake in the entrepreneurship within agriculture? To answer this question, maybe when it comes to resources such as land, one can say that we should go to the nearest bush, but when we get there, we get subjected to the fact that and then this means that even though we have the interest and passion to pursue in entrepreneurship, but due to lack of proximity, we are being sidelined. So I don't know what will be your intake on this one. Thank you.
The last one. You can move to the empty one there. There's one here.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Makgoba. I'm the current and outgoing chairperson of the Faculty of Science and Agriculture.
Please don't press the white thing wherever you're sitting, otherwise he won't be able to speak.
Yeah, I'm a bit concerned and skeptical about how Professor was responding to the questions. I think he was a bit justifying why everything should be the way it is, instead of actually giving us the base. We are looking for a foundation. We can't keep on building a house on a slack foundation, and we hope that we'll just see how tall it gets. But what people are asking is, how do we then get to access those primary agricultural activities, instead of just saying that it's been 8 years in the democracy, then we must adapt to it. I think it's best if we get the basics and the base, the foundations, on how best can we get back to getting those primary agricultural knowledge. That's that for me.
My apologies. Prof, you may go ahead.
Thank you. In terms of changing the policies, which policies do you want to change? We have many policies here. Very good policies. actually excellent policies, but they are not being implemented. We are talking about all the people who are in parliament. Yeah, that's fine. We are talking about the government with all the people. But we are the ones who are electing them to go to parliament. And we cannot really come here and blame another person. We have the power to change. We have the power to change. If ANC government, I am a member of ANC, is not delivering, help us to change it to another party. And that's democracy. Let us put another party in government and see what will happen. Whether they will not give us people who will implement their policies. I have spoken a lot about affirmatives. And I have indicated that these affirmatives are really disappointing us as the government, but disappointing us as the state. And we have the power to change that. Every 5 years, we have the power to change. We have the power to change. In terms of transformation to doing away with primary agriculture, I've never said that. You cannot do away with primary agriculture. But the century in which we are living, you cannot survive on 100 hectares if you are going to use labor to cultivate your land. To plant, you need to transform and be mechanized. And I've indicated after I gave an example of the Chinese after 1989. They immediately mechanized the primary agriculture. And once you have mechanized that, the work which was being done by 1,000 people is now being done by one machine. And where do those 1,000 people go? You need to reskill them. You need to reskill them, short courses, reskill them, and then they get into secondary agriculture. The two go hand in glove. No primary, no booming primary agriculture, no secondary agriculture. But if you are having very good primary agriculture, it will even force the tertiary institution to adapt their training to assist the secondary agriculture sector. Mechanize. Mechanize is the main message that I want you to take along. Mechanize primary agriculture. Facilities. Facilities or practical. The facilities are there in this country. The facilities are there in this country. You need to sit down and apply. You just need to sit down and apply. Our Prof. Aisi, we came here, no equipment, nothing. We sat down, we applied, it's now running. A very successful laboratory. I'm running a very successful laboratory. You need to sit down. Not in this country. Facilities is not an issue. But the issue are the affirmatives. And perhaps that's where the policy needs to be changed. Put the right people in the right position for the sake of the country. For the sake of the country. Acquire skills, experimental, university, and university is not a technical. We are not concentrating on providing skills. The skills that we are concentrating on go hand in glove with brains. Technologies. Develop technologies. Help the country in developing technologies, and a lot of our students are in that space now. They are helping a great deal in the development of technology. I've seen a large number of the students at the center truly assisting us in developing technologies which are relevant in the development of smallholder farmers. Language as a barrier. We have 11 official languages in South Africa. I'm a farmer. When I go to a white African farm, I break the English there. Otherwise, I will not get what I want. I break the Afrikaans there. I speak in Afrikaans. Because I want something from that farmer. We have 11 African languages, and Afrikaans should really not be a barrier that can prevent you from getting what you want to get. We go there, and this wise, if you are breaking the language, they are willing to assist. But perhaps our deputy vice chancellors are here, and the students in agriculture say we need to include Afrikaans as a language in their teaching. Perhaps that's what they are saying.
Thanks, Prof. As we mechanize primary agriculture, can I take those last two hands? And the one hand that was this side is leaning at the back. Okay. Can I have those two hands raised again? Yes, if I can take those two hands, and that will be the last hands. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Seruzane, and I'm from the Faculty of Science and Agriculture. So I've got some few questions based on the secondary agriculture, because he has actually emphasized that secondary agriculture is actually the way to go. So there are some points whereby he mentioned about the policies that actually need to be changed so that they will favor the black people. So if we check carefully from 1948 to 1994, by the time of the policies of the apartheid, whereby the white people, they were actually owning the land in terms of the agriculture, and only few black people, they were actually owning that land. So the unequal distribution of funds for secondary agriculture in South Africa, favoring white people over black people. Don't you think that it can be attributed to historical factors such as the apartheid racial or apartheid policies which entrenched racial disparities in access to resources and opportunities? Because I feel like even after the end of apartheid, these disparities have persisted due to ongoing social, economic or inequalities, as well as limited access to education and training, mostly for us black people. So my question is, what strategies or initiatives are being implemented to address the historical socio-economics and structural factors that have contributed to the challenges faced by black people in South Africa for them to succeed in secondary agriculture. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speakers, please be a bit brief, straight to the point, because I can smell the food from here already. Otherwise, I'll be in trouble with the attendees in the hall.
My name is Ephraim Makgoba. My question is around mechanized agriculture. You are talking as if mechanized agriculture or mechanized anything that we put it, mechanized agriculture doesn't have disadvantages. For example, right now you talked about black on black violence, and part and parcel of black on black violence is unemployment. Okay? Now, the more, suppose, right now, I'm a final year student, and we have more than 80 people who are doing final. But we are talking about mechanization. Suppose you have a center pivot. Now, that center pivot, you don't need 10 people to operate, or 100 people to operate a center pivot. But you are encouraging, or we need to mechanize. And the mechanization leads to unemployment of people. And the immediate thing which we need right now is employment of us who are doing final and people who already graduated from this university and still don't have jobs. But you are busy saying, well, we need to mechanize. So I think my question is, how exactly do we need to do that? Because the state in which our country is in right now, we can't wait for another 10 years in order to wait for that development. We need things that can, we need the laws of the
We need or translated, we need things that should happen now and not later. Last question.
Revolutionary greetings. My name is Makgoba, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'll be short like a miniskirt.
Your question, please.
But still cover the essentials. Prof, I'd like to say that we are very honored to be in the presence of our chief guest. So your presence is a very crucial one, especially for us young people who need to be guided into greener pastures. Before my question, I have a follow-up on the very burning questions that you alluded to. Who is the state and where was the plot lost? I believe that the state is a nation considered a political community, which is under one government. In our case, the ANC government and its constituencies with the collective identity is the state. And where was the plot lost? We were sold out in our revolution because we were given political freedom, but we were not given economical freedom. And this feels like it was premeditated for the black nation to fail economically as soon as 15 to 20 years after democracy. BE is an actual predicament, and there's still no equal land distribution amongst the whites and the blacks of South Africa. Now, the issue of land also leads to the black-on-black violence. We are bunched into small pieces of land called townships, and well, with that knowledge, we can do what we want. As someone who's well learned, sir, in the field of agriculture and has some political background. What clear advice would you give young people? What clear advice would you give young people who are in agriculture or politics, who are willing to make positive change in the field of agriculture for the South African natives? Thank you.
Thank you very much. And that concludes our section for questions. Prof. Mashel, you may go ahead.
Thank you. I want to correct a few things. The focus of my lecture here in honoring His grace was to indicate this, that let us look into ourselves. We have the power to change. I know a lot of these challenges are from outside. That's why I've spoken about fiscal market forces. But these fiscal market forces from outside, you don't sit there and say, this is an economic factor, this is a political factor. You sit down and strategize. That's why we have strategies. Strategize how to deal with that factor which to you is acting as a threat, which is weakening you. We know what is weakening us. We don't have land. That is an economic issue. But then what is the strategy? Is the strategy for us to have land to take up arms? Or is the strategy that we want to gain the land, to develop ourselves and say, okay, I'm going to develop myself academically so that I can be able to afford buying the land? What strategies? As young people, what are you thinking of? Taking up arms or developing yourselves so that you get out of that pit of poverty and be able to afford buying your own piece of land? The state, I know the definition of state, but I wanted to bring it to the level of the theme of the lecture. But no, we cannot, that definition of state is the one that I am against. Of saying, I am not being successful because so and so is keeping me back. No, it is up to you are the state. You are the state. We have these programs here in academia, in agriculture. We cannot really expect the state to come and change the programs for us. But because we are the state, we have the policies. Those policies are enabling us to do what the state is expecting of us. And that is change. My clear advice to young people as to what needs to be done to uplift yourselves out of poverty. President Madiba our founder of this democracy, over and over, reiterated that it is only through education, and the right education. The right education, and that's why we are saying we are busy developing our programs to be competitive. But they will not be competitive sufficiently because of the fiscal market factors, forces. But we are changing, we are trying with our police here, we are changing. But our students help us to change by ensuring that you are really making effort, helping us to help you in terms of developing yourselves, in terms of getting out of poverty. I don't say education will make you rich. I don't say but once you are able to think for yourselves and say, okay, here are produce from primary agriculture. And then what can I do to develop products? Then you are now on your right path towards contributing towards the developmental mandates of this country. Thanks.
Like someone I know once said, always says, our problems are many. And we hope that with the lessons that we have learned today, we will face the future challenges with confidence. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for the hot seat man, Prof. Michel. May I now call my Executive Dean to come and give a vote of thanks. Professor Sengani Suwe, the Executive Dean of the Faculty of Science and Agriculture.
Thanks very much. I see you are singing as if you are at a funeral. Ladies and gentlemen, you will agree with me that we live because Him that you believe in allows you to. Program Director, we are in the month of August, so it is appropriate of me to salute our female colleagues and recognize them for the leadership that they are providing at the University of Limpopo. Starting with Professor Singh, our Deputy Vice Chancellor for Research, Innovation and Partnerships, through all female managers at all different levels, to female students in the SRC and class representatives, you are all appreciated. During the past few days, there was violence in Cape Town and some people lost their lives. His Grace, Archbishop Thabo Makgoba, and other religious leaders led prayers which culminated in the suspension of the protest. During this period, His Grace, Archbishop Thabo Makgoba, was on television and on radio speaking about what he does in his calling. I also listened to His Grace, Archbishop Thabo Makgoba, this morning on SAFM. Professor Makgoba, Program Director. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of our Vice Chancellor and Principal, Professor Makgoba, and University Management, allow me to express our appreciation of the support we have been receiving from His Grace, Archbishop Thabo Makgoba. The time that he has taken to attend to matters relating to our university is indeed humbling to us, and we appreciate. We want to thank you, Your Grace, you and your family, and the delegation that is here with us on these public lecture. Your Grace, Archbishop Thabo Makgoba, on behalf of the faculty, I want to also thank you for agreeing that one of our senior professors at the university, Senior Professor Padu William Mashela, gives us this year's keynote address. I also thank him, Professor Mashela, for his address. The HOD of the department where Professor Mashela and his research center are located is here, Professor Pape Mabapa. She agrees with me, she sent me a note that she agrees with me that Professor Mashela will be tasked to lead the curriculum review that he's talking about, so that the learning outcomes of what they offer is aligned to the needs of the job market, as his address sought to suggest. This must be presented to the faculty board, the university, and the university council. Ladies and gentlemen, since this statement was made by Professor Mashela in the presence of the Archbishop, a copy of the reviewed program must be submitted to the office of the Archbishop's Trust, so that when the history and the influence of the trust and these annual lectures are written, and I know they will be written, the promises made by Professor Mashela today can be well documented. Your Grace, Archbishop Makgoba, I trust you know that I respect authority, and I have love for what I have been assigned. For me to be happy to come to work on Monday, allow me to do the rituals, which are to thank the Vice Chancellor and Principal, Professor Makgoba, the Deputy Vice Chancellor for Teaching and Learning on my right, Professor Richard Madaji, the Deputy Vice Chancellor for Research, Innovation and Partnerships, Professor Jessica Singh, members of the Executive Management Committee who are here, school directors, Professor Leseilana Mampuru, Professor Asan Chauke, our research professor, Professor Peter Mashoku, all professors and all heads of departments across all faculties, and research chairs. I saw Professor Temani here, all academic and administrative staff, our dear students from the faculty in the sunshine. We thank you for being part of this journey. Remember, please remember, history starts with us. I accordingly invite you to the 10th annual Archbishop Makgoba public lecture in 2024. Archbishop, you will agree with me that my Deputy Vice Chancellor, Professor Madachi, agreed strongly with Professor Thabo, the program director. Here today, they declared that nothing is doable without agriculture. I'm not here to contest their beliefs. I am a mathematician and a believer. I do know that agriculture is practiced on earth. I also know that heaven and earth shall pass away, but the word of God will remain forever. Your Grace, Archbishop Thabo Makgoba, thanks very much for your leadership. We appreciate the present you sent through to our keynote speaker, Professor Mashela. I will now ask the Deputy Vice Chancellor for Teaching and Learning, Professor Richard Madaji, to present the gift from the Archbishop to Professor P.W. Mashela. Please put smiles, your best smiles, as you do the present, and Professor Mashela as he receives for the cameras.
Thanks very much. In the same breath, we work as a team. I will invite the DVC for research, Professor C, to come onto the stage, please, so that we take a photo with the executive dean.
Thank you.
is just for me to make the announcements. Choir, staff and students, the guests, and the management. You will follow me. The guests and the management.